Here with me, and well, we've been talking about these discussions between the US and EU on a trade deal. An agreement would bring a big economic boost to both sides of the Atlantic.
Yeah, high stakes in these talks. The trade between the United States and the European Union accounts for almost half of the world's economic output every year. In 2012, the value of goods exchanged was around 500 billion euros. The value of services on top of that, almost another 300 billion euros. Now, a deal to reduce import duties and cut regulation could benefit the EU economy by an estimated 119 billion euros a year. It could also create as many as 400,000 badly needed jobs here in Europe. Trade tariffs between Europe and the US are already quite low, but even the smallest change, because the volume of trade involved, could bring big benefits.
Free trade would probably be much more beneficial to the United States than for Europe, because the production costs are much lower in the United States than in Europe today. It's also important to consider the role of agriculture. It could even be this that prevents us from reaching an agreement, because there is a world between standards in agriculture on either side of the Atlantic.
Now, Eurozone finance ministers meeting in Brussels later today are going to be talking about Greece, a big issue on the table for them. The Greek government scrambling to get an agreement to get its next instalment of a bailout loan, 8.1 billion euros at stake. The Prime Minister needs to cut 4,000 public sector jobs to get that and redeploy some 25,000 more workers. For more on this, let's go to Athens now and speak to our correspondent, Natalie Savarakis, who's there. Natalie, thank you for joining us. 4,000 jobs in the context of the Greek economic crisis doesn't seem like an awful lot. Why are they causing so many problems?
Well, in an effort to overhaul the public sector, the government has set up this mobility program where 25,000 civil servants must be redeployed, during which time their salaries will be reduced and their status will be reviewed by the end of the year. Naturally, the local administration staff are very worried that this will just lead to more layoffs. And of course, in a country where more than a quarter of the population is currently unemployed, this isn't going down well at all, Stephen. The mayor of Athens actually was even assaulted last night by very angry unionists. Now, of course, the government says it will not back down. The mentioned cuts will be incorporated in a bill that will be tabled to Parliament tomorrow.
And Natalie, it's Karen here. Could I ask you, why is this payment so urgent?
Well, the country in itself must redeem a 3 month and 6 month debt worth 6.6 billion euros by mid-August. If it doesn't get the 8.1 billion euros by its creditors in the next month, it will essentially go bankrupt. Of course, additionally, why the government must force and implement all this is because it's essentially needing to cover a revenue shortfall as it's unable to meet some of its targets, with problems also now rising in its privatization program.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Natalie Savarakis there. And
Going to take a look at the markets
yes.
next for you, Karen, this Monday. Fears the Federal Reserve might slow down its monetary stimulus, or the Chinese economy may slow down its growth, hit trading in Asia today, sending the Hang Seng in Hong Kong and the Shanghai Composite into the red sharply, down almost 2%. Both of those markets you can see there, the Kospi in Seoul and the Nikkei in Tokyo, down in the red as well. One stock we're keeping an eye on is the South Korea's Asiana Airlines. After that crash landing in San Francisco over the weekend, their shares closing down 5.5% after that incident. Staying with companies news now, and we move on to the Japanese investment company SoftBank. Standard & Poor's has downgraded the company to junk status after its purchase of US mobile network Sprint. Now, the $21.6 billion deal was approved by American regulators on Friday, but the purchase has increased SoftBank's debt, which has led Standard & Poor's to reduce it to junk status.
well, with access to credit still a problem for many small businesses, they're looking for new ways to raise money, aren't they?
Yes, this is the concept known as crowdfunding. This is where a company or an organisation tries to raise funding from individuals seeking small amounts. Now, it's been used in charity donations and one-off projects for quite a while, but now it's turning, entrepreneurs are taking a turn at the process, perhaps being an alternative to bank lending for some. Catherine Nicholson reports.
This up-and-coming Parisian band are looking for investors for their first album. No traditional music labels for them, their backers are right here. They're fans who are crowdfunding the record.
Labels are very reticent to sign risky bands. Since we have a lot of fans everywhere in the world, we have a Facebook page on which we're very active, on Twitter, etc. We thought we'd give it a shot, and it's been working out really well for us.
Anyone can take part for €1 or more. As a thank you for successfully funding the album, they'll give their donors rewards from a music download to a private gig. It all passes through here. Kiss Kiss Bank Bank is a French crowdfunding website, one of more than 400 worldwide. Decide on your dream, perfect your pitch, spread the word, and wait for the donations to roll in. The websites make their money on commissions. The next level is rather newer, crowdfunded 0% loans. For brewer Emmanuel, it's a vital financial lifeline.
For smaller projects like mine, I don't think the banks would have been that interested. Seeing as my product is beer, which is pretty convivial, I can share it with the people who financed it, which is great.
So far so fun, but if Emmanuel's beer flops, he still has to pay back the money somehow. Not all projects do work out, and in the United States, crowdfunders have lost large sums thanks to overambitious aims or too generous rewards. And an even riskier version is on the cards, equity crowdfunding.
Negotiations are underway with the authorities to make crowdfunding rules more flexible, so we can take it to the next level. That would mean internet users investing directly in companies, becoming shareholders, something that's basically impossible right now.
If regulators do work out safeguards, there are plenty of shiny dreams waiting to turn to gold. Though where there's investment, there's always the risk it could all burst like a balloon.
Well, we're going to take a short break now. We'll have more news on what's happening in Egypt, with at least 16 people being shot dead outside the building where it's believed the former president, Morsi, is being held. More on that after the break. Do stay with us.